Okay, hello class. I just want to go over real quick what the homework is like. So throughout the past couple of weeks, we've really been talking about perspective and how to line things up. So here I want to just reinforce the idea that when we have multiple figures, that we're lining things up that are on the same reference points. So here in this particular image, all of the reference points are lined up by the eyes. Here with this one, the eye level line, everything is lined up right here around the crotch area. And here, look, everything is lined up on around the ankles. Okay, for your homework, I want you to do some figures from life or from references. You know, it doesn't have to be very detailed. Think abstract shapes, very simple stuff. Don't worry about shading. The main thing is getting some shapes that's recognizable, proportional. You know, 6-figure head, 7.5, 8. You know, up to you. Now, okay. So now this is good, but you're like, well, what happens if the eye level is a little bit higher? Well, perfect that you asked. What a great question. Here it is. If the eye level is high, proportionally, this is 2 heads, like this. 2 heads down. 2 heads in the distance, 2 heads up here. That's exactly what we're trying to do, okay? So next up, what we should note is also how things relate to each other. So constantly, when we're outside and in public, you know, we need to know what the size relationship of everything is, so that when we're lining up our figures and moving it in space, they all move proportionally. So if we have the horizon line down here on this person's ankle, everything that moves into the distance should line up right there, okay? Now, if everything is right here on the roof of this car, everything that moves in the distance should line up right there, okay? So what does that mean? It sort of looks like this. This is the figure that's really close, and that's a figure that's really far away. Now, we could start moving these figures in the distance. For example, everything should line up to this horizon line. Now I can move this car in this accurate space, so that the car doesn't end up feeling like it's floating up here in space, that it's all relative to the same space, okay? Same thing with this character right here. Let's say I want to bring this character quite a bit forward. I make sure that I'm bringing it based on where the reference point is by the horizon line. Same thing with this character. Move this character to the side so we could see it a little bit more. You know, let's say we want to move this character closer and see what that composition is like. You know, then we could start playing around with different looks and all that stuff, okay? So that's one thing to keep an eye out. Next thing is you can move your horizon line, okay? Just so you know that this horizon line is for demonstration purposes. For the most part, the horizon line is implied, and it shouldn't be used on your composition, because once things get to the horizon, get closer and closer to the horizon line, it's actually representing infinity. So you don't want the bottom of your stuff to really end up over there. So, you know, let's say this is a top-down view, and then now we want to move this car based on this horizon line right there. We're going to move this character further out in space. So everything should be proportional based on this space configuration. Now let's say we want to bring this character super close, then they go off the edge. Okay, so these are all proportional in that aspect. We do that many times, many different ways. Now, you might say, well, Albert, what happens, you know, like, what about the top plane, the side plane, the Z plane? That's just additional stuff. Remember, we have the figure, the Kim Jong-gi figure, right? The gingerbread man, remember? Right? So we could make the perspective show as if the gingerbread man's from up top by doing that, right? Or we could take the same ginger man and say we're looking at it from the bottom. You know? Same silhouette, different perspective. Same thing as we were talking about with, remember we had the house that we were talking about? So basic house, very simple silhouette, all right? Now I could change the camera angle to more of a eye level line, somewhere around there, right? Or I could change the perspective to maybe more of a bird's eye view of the same thing. Or I could change the composition again to maybe even a worm's eye view. You know, then there's additional details that we could manifest or play around with. The main thing is being able to see the scale of things. That's what we're trying to do here in this compositional study. So here's another version with multiple figures. I guess I deleted my extra. All right. So let's say we can put a bunch of figures in this one. Based on this proportion, we're going to scale everything down to the same size, right? Based on this horizon line, we could start moving characters in space. Oops. Move these characters in space. So let's put this character right next to this female character. I'm going to turn these characters off. And then also think about groupings. Oops. Maybe this character is right next to this character. Or this character is overlapping behind that character. Or let's say we want to create more of a portrait of this character right here. Let's bring her to the center. Oops. Let's bring her here to increase her size. Now we have a figure within this composition that is much larger. But they're all related in this space, okay? Of course, you got to make sure that the perspective overlapping is correct, and various things like that. Okay, yeah, so just make a few of these. The main thing is we're not trying to make very pretty pictures. We're just trying to learn this sort of relationship so that we could see when we're creating characters and moving them around. Okay, don't use cutouts like I've done here. Do little simple painted studies. It doesn't have to be super amazing. It could be, you know, some stuff from observation. You know, color it in. You know, but just trying to find that sort of relationship, trying to find simple shapes, trying to find, you know, just that way of moving things around, creating compositions based on this. Now, you know, after we're done, you know, there's different ways of cropping. Remember, we try to avoid having the crop right there in the middle. So maybe I'll do something like this. You know, let me crop it in even more. Black. Okay. Do a few of these studies. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just have fun with it. Get a good hang of it. You reuse. If you're doing it traditionally, you know, you probably won't be able to do as many. But if you're doing it if you're doing it on the computer, you should be able to bust these out really easy. Now, another challenging thing is, like, I want you to also think about what happens if a character is sitting. Okay, how does that relate in this space proportion? How do we move this character back? I could show you the answer, but I want you to actually really think about it first, okay? One last thing, if you're doing it here on the computer, if you're moving things based on horizon line, there's usually a center dot. You can move that center dot onto the horizon line, and you could move this character by scale this character by pressing Alt. So after you hit Control T or Command T, if you're scaling it based on that, you could do that. Okay. Of course, when it gets closer, you might see more of the wider angle shots like Z depth and various things. But the main thing is we want to practice getting scale of multiple figures and just seeing how that works in this composition, okay? Hope that is helpful and clear.